There are so many things that happened at Travis Scott's concert that I want to talk about so that we can all be more aware. So we got things looking normal, and then we look behind us and we see that there's people passing out. And right now we know that there's 8 people dead and many injured. The first thing I want to talk about is the power of music. And I am a lover of music. I love music. I think that music has the power to transform people. It has the power to heal. It has the power to move people to do great things. But there's another polarity to it, just like everything else in life. There's a positive and a negative, or a good and a bad. And Travis Scott's concert is a pure example of that. Music has the ability to change people's consciousness. And the first example would be people passing out while listening to a beat.
And they usually have DJs in between sets at festivals, but they started playing this weird bass, like this just like repetitive bass noise and nothing else. And right when this thing started playing, I was like, what is this? Like, it was hurting my ears. But then I instantly got sick and I passed out on the floor. And I even told my friend before I passed out, I was like, I'm lightheaded. And then I was like, is this noise bothering you too? And then I passed out.
Something to note here is that music can serve as a vehicle for hypnosis. It allows for people to disconnect from their bodies and experience subsequent realities. There's some things that if we were to look into psychology, we can actually listen to music and they get us into a trance-like state. And that is how a lot of people are able to induce spiritual experiences. That is how a lot of people were able to go through their shamanistic journeys and get to know the astral realm. This is what these artists are doing, whether they are conscious of it or not. The power of music is not understood right now. It's not clearly understood. The second example of music's power is just the ability to transform people's consciousness and leading them into rage. You know, there's a lot of things in Travis Scott's music and also in hip-hop's music overall that talks about like sex, it talks about drugs, it talks about money, it talks about rage, violence. These images that come into our heads as we're listening to this music, they have an effect on our bodies. They have an effect on our psychology, and it seeps into our subconscious in a way where we start to perceive the world in a different way. And that is how you get to a place where we have people screaming out for help and screaming out to stop the concert, but there are others who do not care, who care more about the trance that they're in, the state that they're in. They value that more over other people's lives. And I think that is something important that we need to note here. And we need to understand that the Matrix is basically pointing to that. It's pointing towards violence, it's pointing towards rage, it's pointing towards a feeling of being trapped. And it keeps people confined in this space, in this mental space where they do not want to change. They do not want to listen to anything outside of what is going on.
People are fucking dying. I'm gonna save somebody's life. That's somebody's kid.
Two hands to the sky.
I'm gonna save them.
Two hands to the sky. Two hands up, y'all. Two hands up.
And so you have people listening to music at the gym, you have people listening to music in their car while they're working, all of these things, and while they're doing it, they're also not sober. And that's the second thing that I want to point out about the Matrix here. In this society, it is normal for us to not be sober, right? It is normal for us to be drugged up and weird for us to be sober. All of the things that hip-hop talks about, it comes into your head and it stays in there and makes you see things a different way, you know? Like, I would find that a lot of my pleasures were not really mine. They were more so projections from other people. I realized that a lot of my likes and dislikes were part of something else that wasn't really me. Once I realized that, I stopped listening to hip-hop music, and that also came with me also learning to meditate. It also came with me wanting to stop masturbating. It also led me to stop drinking so much. It led me to all these other things because I realized that the only thing that is worthwhile is the things that will touch your spirit. It's the things that will make you feel full. And I realized that this music wasn't making me feel full. If anything, it promoted a feeling of lack. It promoted materialism. And that's the next point I want to make. Basically, the Matrix puts a heavy emphasis on materialism because, well, the Matrix is the material world. It says it within the word itself. Material, matter, matrix, like all of these words are connected, and you need to understand the symbolism here, the metaphorical symbolism that is going on in the Matrix. There's a heavy emphasis put on shoes.
You tried to take my shoe? You want to be a thief? Fuck 'em up!
Money, sex, fame, status. You know, all of these different things that a lot of people look up to. And that is just another trap because these things are never going to fulfill or going to touch your spirit. That is why there's a lot of unhappy, successful people nowadays because they're trapped in the Matrix, and the Matrix is supposed to keep you confined. It's a feedback loop, basically. And once you break out of this, then you can connect with the spirit, you can connect with the universe, and you can understand yourself a little more. And speaking about symbolism and speaking about connecting with yourself, the term astral world is not just a reference to to a theme park, but it's also a reference to the astral realm or the astral world, which is basically the world that you go into when you fall asleep and you're dreaming. We need to understand that the astral world influences our subconscious. I am well aware and have experienced it for myself that there are certain entities that stick to people, that make people act a certain way. They're not forcefully or not like possessively, but more so in a way where the person is open to that suggestion. And you cannot be made to do anything unless you're open to it. When you enter a concert, which is kind of like a trance-like state where you're connecting to everybody at the same frequency, you create this like mass consciousness. You create this mass energy where everybody's vibrating at the same frequency that just creates and multiplies the energy even more. And so you keep attracting and closing in more of that energy. And so you have all of these negative entities coming in and all of these negative things coming in. That's why, drunk people fight. So the biggest thing that you get out of this is that if you're aware of the intention of the source of what you're consuming, then you're able to understand what it's manifesting within you, right? Just the way Travis Scott was acting, he was just not aware of what was going on. His behavior might have been subconscious, but it was just a result of what kind of mindset he was inhabiting, of the intention he came in with. The intention was rage. The intention was chaos. The intention was make the world rock. You know what I'm saying? If you can read into the intention, if you can read into the source of the message of what people are saying or what people are doing, then you will be much more aware and much more able to discriminate and pick the things that will only enhance your spirit, enhance your connection to spirit, and you will let go of so much of the attachment you have to the pleasures that really take you nowhere, that are just a closed circuit. And I want this to be a message of light for anybody who's watching. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, make sure to click on this video above so you can understand exactly how you can transmute these negative energies into something positive for your life. So thank you guys for watching. Stay lucid. Peace.